Well, I think first and foremost, it's most important to, you have to have steady meter. You got to be able to play time. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you're part of the drum section. So being the bottom end, the bass guitar, the kick drum on a drum kit, you're locking down the tempo. And that's the first and foremost thing. So if that's all you can do is just keep the time, technically you're checking that box and that's good. Second thing would be, again, I think tonally, adding to the overall sound of particularly the pipe core. That's the way I approach it. I try and get my drum tuned and try and usually set it to help the pipe core sound more full, which kind of brings me to another point. When you are setting the drum, everyone is, you can only chase the sound for so long, and sometimes, it's okay to actually have the drum maybe set slightly flatter than the pipe core. Very few humans have perfect pitch, and regardless of what some people might think, but yeah, the bottom line is that's a fact, and if we all had perfect pitch, we'd all be working with the London Philharmonic Orchestra or something like that, making a great living, but we play in pipe bands and we play in rock and roll bands or whatever. But it's like, if you can get the drum close, like in the ballpark kind of, I know it sounds kind of maybe, 180 degrees from what everyone's probably naturally thinking, but if you can get it in the ballpark, it's going to be good, and so usually what I'm telling people when they're first starting out when it comes to tuning and things like that is like, okay, here's the zone, you want to get the drum in, and 95% of the time, regardless of what grade, whether it's novice, juvenile, grade 3A, grade 2, or grade 1, the top tier in grade 1, if you're getting the drum in this kind of zone pitch-wise, I'll bet you, anything that you're going to be just fine. When you're putting your parts together, when you're constructing your parts, whether it's music that your lead drummer is handing you to play, or whether it's parts that you're constructing yourself with the rest of the drum corps, or the midsection, the bass section, bass and tenor section together, it's knowing when to step in and when to step out. Like some of the stuff that I play, or you see any of the top bands playing, they know when to. Sometimes the best thing to play is nothing at all. And so you need to know, based on what you're doing in your band, based on the people you're playing with, it's going to change from band to band and personalities and so on and so forth. But it's knowing when to step in and when to step out. In other words, when to play, when to not play. And you'll listen to, for example, it's one of the things, quite frankly, I've had to learn and I've had to adjust a little bit in recent years based on my natural playing style, is to kind of be, I guess, arguably a little bit busier or a little bit more constant playing throughout the whole piece. I've needed to relax a little bit and know when to kind of step back and let the tenors carry certain passages, certain runs, and step out and just let them do it. And then I'm back in. And sometimes that takes a bit of time and a lot of kind of just listening and communicating with the other people you're playing with. Unfortunately, that's something you can't necessarily just teach right out of the box. There's no manual for it. It's just reps and understanding the music. I'm a big proponent of bass drummers sitting in with the pipe section a lot and understand the melodies of the tunes rather than just the rhythm. And to me, you can hear a difference between bands that are solely approaching the bass drum and perhaps the tenor section solely, or 85% rhythmically, as opposed to playing more to the melody. To me, playing more to the melody, as long as you're locking down that steady meter, the rhythm, that's what makes good ensemble. If you're into the competitive vibe, you put the work in. it will pay off. You will get results. It's like anything. It's like starting a new exercise regimen. You're not necessarily going to see the results at the end of that first week or the end of that first couple of days, or maybe not the first few months, but 6 months, 8 months, a year later, when you run into an old friend and they say, "Man, what are you doing? You look great. Have you lost a few pounds? Like, are your biceps a little bigger? What's going on there, man? Like, you look awesome." You will get results. People will notice, you will notice, and you'll feel good. Quite simply, you'll feel good. Again, it doesn't have to be in a competitive forum. You could be playing in a parade band. If you put the work in and try and just to lose yourself in the music, the beauty of that beautiful noise that you're making, it's cathartic. It can help you in other aspects of life. This sounds really corny, but it doesn't always necessarily have to be about the competitive side of things. Those of us who play in that forum, we practice because we not only enjoy the music, but we want to try and attain the highest level we possibly can. That's not to say you can't take the same approach and not be into the competitive thing. Put the work in. You'll get some. It'll just make you feel good. I mean, it's learning something. It's a good thing to increase your knowledge. We need that. I think we need that to move forward as people. It's like feeding yourself. It's like making sure you have enough water. I think for us as musicians, that's an integral part of it, is increasing our musical knowledge and working at it. It's like something we need. We need to plug in and we need to get that out. Put the work in,